I used to own a 335i that had upgraded twin turbos, and now I own one that has a single turbo setup. I daily drove both cars, I ran the hell out of them, and I raced others. So which setup is the best? Well, today I'm gonna go ahead and share my experience with you guys, and hopefully that helps you decide which is the best option for your car. Let's first talk about cost, which is probably the most important factor when it comes to upgrading a turbo system on your car. Luckily for us, there's a ton of options out there. Upgraded hybrids are typically a little bit, sometimes a lot more affordable than a single turbo setup. You can go as cheap as 700 bucks for like Chinese 17T turbos, or you can go with a more reputable brand and pay up to 3,600 bucks for pure stage 2 high flow turbos, which are the ones that I used to have on the E93. And they pretty much just install like factory turbos. So essentially none of the engine layout really changes. You don't have to do any relocations if you don't have to. You don't have to swap out any parts. You don't need an elaborate kit like a single turbo upgrade, which essentially keeps the price to upgrade relatively low. So let's talk about some cheap options, like the ones they sell on eBay, the 17Ts and the 19Ts. For what they sell for, you would think that they would come blown out the box. Price starts at around $730 for like the 11 blade 17T version, and they're rated at 750 horsepower. Bruh, guys, $1 per horsepower. $1. I'll be very honest with you guys. I used to ignore all the hype I used to see on the forums and Facebook groups talking about the 17Ts and 19Ts. That is until my buddy Ali got a set for himself, the 17Ts with 11 blades, installed it onto his E90, and literally ripped them for 3 to 4 months, and they're still running extremely well. Of course, results may vary. I've read some unfavorable reviews about these turbos and people getting different results. That said, I think a lot of it has to do with proper install. Keep in mind, I don't even think they come with warranty. So if you're the type of person that likes to gamble $700 away, well, by all means, at least if they do fail, you don't really feel that bad. Well, maybe, it depends. Some mid-tier options for upgraded twin turbos are companies like Vargas and MMP. To be honest with Vargas, I've never tried them before, but they have such a choppy reputation, especially on Facebook group. You know, some people swear by them and others just completely trash the company for lack of quality. I can't really comment on them since I've had no experience. On paper, they seem like an extremely good value what they sell. You would have to just talk to people that are running them and try to get their opinion. As far as the turbo upgrades you can get from MMP, there's not a lot of people that I've met that run those turbos, but the ones that have used them have said nothing but good things about them. You can get their stage 3 kit, I think, for $2,650, which is a very, very good deal. Lastly, Pure Turbos, they're very reputable when it comes to upgrades for the N54. I had their most expensive option on the E93 stage 2 high flows. They were rated at 700 bucks and they went for $3,650. I ran those on my car for quite a bit. I really beat the crap out of that car and those turbos never went. If you decide to go with the stage 2 non-high flow variants, you can save 500 bucks and it's rated at 600 horsepower. But I don't know if that makes any sense because they also offer the Pure 600s, which is technically rated at 600 horsepower as well. And they go for $2,200, which is $800 less than the stage 2 non-high flows. I've heard some sketchy reviews on those. I'm not entirely sure. I would definitely do some research and find out what other experiences are like. My guess is that Pure came out with that option to compete with the other guys like Vargas and MMP. If the turbos work good, for $2,200 rated at 600 horsepower, that is not bad. Single turbo upgrades also vary in price and depending with the company you go with, how big the size of the turbo is, and what brand it is. Two pretty well-known companies that offer somewhat affordable single turbo kits for the N54 are Speedtech and Doc Race. Speedtech offers Borg Warner turbos on their kits. They start as low as $3,400. Doc Race uses precision turbos, and their most affordable kit is the bottom mount single turbo kit, the DR700, which is the one that I'm rocking on my E90. Another company that's been making single turbo kits for the N54 for quite some time now, they're specifically known for their bottom mount kits, is CES Motorsports. The kits that they offer are among the most expensive kits you can buy for the N54. But I hear that the quality and parts that they make for the kit makes up for it. Unlike when you upgrade to twin turbos, a single turbo kit normally requires you to take extra steps when installing the kit to make sure that your car runs okay. Things like relocating the power steering pump and the expansion tank to the opposite side, getting a boost controller, getting a custom tune, and changing little small things that eventually cost you more money than if you were to just go with the hybrids. In other words, just be prepared to spend more money. Another very important thing to consider when choosing between both options is the labor. If you take your car to an independent shop, they'll charge you more to install a single turbo versus just a twin turbo upgrade, which go into like the factory location. One, because it's more time consuming and it's technically more difficult to do.
Real quick guys, if you're needing supporting mods for your turbo upgrade or just want to go full bolt-ons, make sure to check out vehiclevirals.com. We have massive intercoolers, performance radiators, downpipes, and even wireless adapters for MHT. I'll leave a link down in the description below. It's an easy way to buy what you need while supporting the channel.
Let's go ahead and move on to driving dynamics. This is very important to me, and I'm sure it would be as well to you. How does the car feel? How does it react after the turbo upgrade? Both setups are so vastly different, you would think you're driving two totally different cars. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very hard choice. With the twins, you get so much power up front, even at low RPMs. It makes it very good for daily driving. If you're in traffic, bumper to bumper, if you gotta get out of a sticky situations, the twins just react much faster and you get all that power almost instantly. Single turbo setups, they excel on the open road and highways where you can be at optimal RPMs. When you floor a single turbo car at the proper RPM and that boost kicks in, it hits different. The feeling is unexplainable. It's like a roller coaster. And I'm not saying that the twins are not as fast, but more so that they just kind of run out of gas towards the high end of the RPM versus the single, it just keeps climbing and it just keeps going. Think of it like this, with hybrids, you have that power readily available whenever you're ready, even at low RPMs. With a single, you have to kind of work for that power, whether it's by downshifting, brake boosting, anti-lag, you name it. The turbocharger on my E90 spools at around 3200 RPM. The sweet spot is like 4000 RPM. That's with a 6266 ball bearing. Obviously, results may vary based on your car, the size of the turbo, whether it's a top mount, bottom mount. But yeah, once you get into the sweet spot, the single turbo is just awesome. When it comes to racing on the E93, I like doing races from a dig or very slow rolling launches versus the E90. It's roll races all day. That's where it really shines, like 60 to 130. I will say the following. If you have a stock N54 with the stock turbos and you like that power delivery and the characteristics of how it drives, low end torque, readily available, then it'll be kind of challenging to switch over to a single turbo setup. At least it was challenging for me at first until I really got used to it and started to like it. But you have that low end lag that is going to be difficult to get used to. If your goal is to maximize power and like hit yourself every time your car hits boost, then go for single. If you want readily available power, pretty much in every situation, no matter what RPM range, then the hybrids are probably going to be the best option for you. Now let's go ahead and move on to everybody's favorite subject, and that is reliability. I mean, it is a very important one when you're trying to chase big power. I mean, what good is it to make power if your car is not healthy and it's not running efficiently? First things first, you've heard me say this countless times on my channel. Before modifying your car for performance, before tuning it, take care of all the maintenance. It'll save you a massive headache going forward. It might even save you your car. Maintenance first, then performance. I am telling you from experience, the minute you crank up the boost on the hybrids or the single, all the weak points are gonna rise to the top. Not worth it. So which setup is more reliable? A single turbo setup or the upgraded twins? So this one's a tricky one. I've had this discussion with my tech friends, and here's essentially the conclusion that I came to. When it comes to the turbocharger itself, if you go big single, that turbocharger's probably gonna outlast the twins longevity wise. It's bigger, it has more headroom, it could probably take more of a beating. And when it comes to like rebuilding one, I'm sure it's a lot easier. Not to mention, if you rock a single turbo top mount kit, if you ever had to swap out that turbo for whatever reason, it's a breeze because it's literally sitting right up top compared to like, let's say a bottom mount single turbo kit or twin turbo upgrade. That said, top mounted kits can have problems or annoyances of their own, right? They sit up top. If you ever have to change your valve cover, the valve cover gasket, because it's pissing out oil, well, you kind of have to remove the turbocharger to access that. Also, all that heat is dissipated up top next to all that beautiful BMW plastic, which can also be an issue. Of course, there are workarounds for, let's say, the heat management stuff. I've seen people just wrap this heat material around certain plastic portions of the engine bay, which I guess helps with that. Load to the transmission is another thing you want to factor. It can vary between both setups. If you have a very powerful setup with twins, then a lot of that upfront torque can probably chip away at the transmission eventually, especially if you're like launching the car excessively. I never really had issues with my ZF automatic transmission on the E93, but I also didn't launch the car very much. But that's another thing to think about. With single turbos, the torque kind of gradually kicks in. There's not a lot of wear and tear up front. With the twin turbocharged setup, you have all that torque right up front, and it's just banging on that transmission if you do end up launching it from a dig. Overall, I think a quality set of twin turbos are probably more reliable, since they kind of don't really change the dynamics of the car too much. They bolt onto the factory spot, and the car was built to run with those turbos and not a single turbo with a bunch of different components. Like I said, the actual turbocharger, I think a single will last longer. Longevity wise, I think a good hybrid option would just to go with a bottom mount single turbo kit like I have on my E90. It keeps the heat away from the top, gives you the characteristics of a single turbo setup while also having the benefits of longevity, right? And you can get pretty much faster spool times with those bottom mount kits because of the style of the manifold. Lastly, let's talk about power potential. If you're looking for maximum power, just go with single turbo. If you want instant response, low end torque, just a faster reaction time when it comes to power delivery, then go for the twins. If you're looking to go to the track, twins are probably a better option just because the car is a lot more predictable and responsive. But I've seen plenty of cars that were single turbocharged that were at the track. You just have to work a little bit harder to stay at the proper RPM range. I hope that this video really helped you decide which is the better option for your car. If you found it informative, or if you enjoyed just me talking about this stuff, make sure to hit the like button. Also subscribe for more videos in the future. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.